We back, we back, we back, we back, we back, we back, we back. So, you saw the title. Gambling. Gambling, gambling. Have we lost our minds when it comes down to gambling? Told you we were going to talk about it a little bit. And, because as usual, I try to talk about some of the stuff that I know, or at least have done a little bit of research on. So, they said this year, the last past Super Bowl, because I want to start with the bigger stuff, then we'll get down to other stuff. But this last past year, the Super Bowl, I think it was around $25 billion had been have bet on the Super Bowl. Matter of fact, you know what? Because I want to give you the exact information. Yes. So 20. Okay. Yeah, $23.1 billion was wagered on the Super Bowl by 68 million American adults that are known. All right. Out of a country of about, 340 million people. So that's it's about a fifth, maybe a quarter of the country of people who have decided to vote legally, and this goes with sports books and just different things like that. And I want to kind of watch what I say and preface what I say because, hey, listen, I would be a walking contradiction if I didn't say, hey, one day, in the years coming up, if Prize Picks or FanDuel or what's the other one, DraftKings or ESPN betting said, hey, you know what? You think you could promote our betting? We'll give you a cool extra $20 a week to do it. And I might say, you know what? I may do it. But I would also have to think to myself and say it would be a severe contradiction and something that I would have to think about for me if I decided to do it. The reason is that because, once upon a time, I used to gamble. And I'm not talking about like going into casinos because I've never been like a big casino, although I did go in and lose a lot playing roulette one time. I think I talked about that before because I thought I was the new roulette king and Vegas showed me. But I just want to talk about even with the sports betting, because since now we can just go on our phone and pick a bet just out of the air. We use our debit card, send some money over. You don't even have to be anywhere. I remember once upon a time before all of this started, even in Philly, in Pennsylvania, we didn't even have a sports book. You couldn't place bets anywhere in the city. Now, there are several places in the city where you can go down and place a bet if you don't want to use your phone. Or if you want to go down and sit down and enjoy the game at the casino and collect your winnings if you win afterwards. But I'm telling you, what betting did for me was it drove me insane. Almost. Whereas had girlfriends. I think during that time I may have had like two main situations, not at the same time, at two different times, but over a span of maybe 5 or 6 years. And I'm telling you, and people out there that know, when you win, when you hit, and you hit for $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000, $6,000, you feel invincible, man. You feel like nothing else in this world can stop you. And what you do is that since you feel so good, on that Monday or Tuesday when you get your payout, if you have a bookie, back in the day stuff I'm talking, and you tip your bookie because that's how good you feel. Hey man, take a couple hundred for yourself. Do something nice for your family. Have a good dinner on me. Because you're up, you won. You think about all the stuff that you could do, because at the time I didn't have kids. So I was running around buying sneakers, going out, flying away, doing all other kinds of stuff. But then you hit a rough patch and you start to lose. And then you lose again. And then you lose again. And that $6,000 that you won that 1 week doesn't seem that great anymore. And now it's to the point where you don't even have that $6,000 anymore. I remember one of the things that I bought, and this is definitely dating me, but that's okay because I don't care. was when Neiman Marcus was kind of, new to the area up in King of Prussia. And I remember they came out with the America's Cup sneaker. And I remember that was one of those weeks where we won. It may not have been 6,000, maybe 4,000. And I remember going up, buying those America Cup sneakers, getting some other stuff, got a couple Versace t-shirts, stuff like that. Because outside of my regular job, hey, look, I didn't even have to spend my regular check because, I got this money gambling. But then something happened. Like I was saying, I started losing. And then I started losing again. And I started losing some more. But every time I still tried to be a stand-up guy, I was a stand-up guy. And I said, hey, here's the money. Here it is. Here's 1,000. Here's 1,200. And I remember one time it got so bad to the point where, because now, for anybody that that gambles, you can go on a losing streak that is like unbelievable to you and unprecedented to you. And you will feel like I've never won a game in my life. And what happens? I remember I had to, at one point, and once again, so Mom, if you listen, this is years ago. So at one point, I remember I lost about $1,600. $1,600. And I may have had, maybe $6,000 or $7,000 in the bank or whatever. But do you know how humiliating it is? Do you know how terrible it feels to have to drive with your bookie? And he was a nice guy. I don't think he would have broke my legs or anything like that because, we were always cool. But I had him meet me at the credit union and had to give him a certified check. He had to watch me at the counter give him a certified check because at that time, I wasn't allowed to withdraw more than $1,000 out of my account. So I couldn't get the whole, it was a credit union, small credit union. So I wasn't able to get the entire $1,600. So what I did was I gave him that and, everything was resolved. But I wasn't. So I just kept gambling. And it was some days, because of course, revisionist history, you can't remember everything. So there were a lot of days that I lost. So then I said, you know what? I'm going to stop playing college football games because they're killing me. I'm just going to wait till Sunday nights, Monday nights, all this other kind of stuff. And then one day, I remember it was a weekend because I went back to college. And I got clobbered. I got killed. I was down about $1,600. Again, 16, right? And I remember it was the Sunday night game because this is kind of when they were first in the first few years of Sunday night games. And I was getting desperate. And anybody, like I said, that's been around gambling for a while, especially sports gambling, would let you know that they used to have all kinds of stuff. There would be commercials. There would be things. Hey, listen, we got a guy with the inside track. Just give him a call. And that's how desperate I was, y'all. So it was a 1-800 number, and I called. And they said, listen, we got some insider, already know such. Now I'm going to let you use this, and I'm going to give you a free pick. Only thing you do is, and that's, once again, just to let you know how technology is caught up now. If you do it, I just need you to send me a couple $100 if you win. So, and if I don't hear from you again, then I'm just not going to take any more of your calls. I said, okay. So I called the bookie up and I said, hey, bookie! Bookie! Give me $2,000 on tonight's game. And I love him. Rest in peace. And he said, all right now, son, if you do this, you're going to have to give me half of that money before next week. And on top of that, you're out of commission until I get the rest of the money. And the only reason I'm extending this to you is because you've been with me for a while. A couple years by this point. I said, all right, cool. So I go. I said, give me $2,000 on the over. I'll never forget, it was the Falcons versus the Saints. I believe it was, I want to say it was right after Katrina. I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly when it was. It may have been before that, but and I was sitting there and I was watching the game. And so for people who don't know, as far as gambling, the over is when both teams score combined goes over a certain amount. So they may say for two teams, the Saints versus the Falcons, the over combined is 48.5. So if you take over, that means combined they need 49 points. And I swear to goodness gracious, I'm not making this up. This is the reason why I'm saying this game, because Aaron Brooks was the quarterback, and then you can actually go back and check it out. The Saints were driving. And basically the way it was that to cover this over, not only did I need the Saints to score a touchdown, I needed them to score a 2-point conversion to tie the game, to just give me the chance. Now, once they tied the game, it would send me over. So what happened was Aaron Brooks comes down. He was the quarterback at the time for the Saints. He comes down. I can't remember how he scored, but they passed it, whatever, they scored. So I'm thinking to myself, now they need to get this 2-point conversion. And, you know, of course, like if you're a avid football watcher, you know, a 2-point conversion is kind of tough to get. It's not a given. And I can't even remember how he got it. Only thing I remember was, because you got to think about it, if he doesn't get this 2-point conversion, game is over. Because all the Falcons are going to do is take the ball and kneel on it. In some kind of way, they get the 2-point conversion. And when I tell you I was already on my knees, I would say I dropped to my knees. But I was on my knees. And of course, like a lot of us do, I had to call on God. Because I knew I had won. And I said, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. And I had tears coming down my eyes. I did. And it was the wake-up call that I needed. Now, not to say I haven't bet a little bit here and there, but I stopped chasing. I stopped betting to make a come-up that I thought that I was going to get. Oh, and I didn't tell you, the young lady I was dating at the time, that was Sunday night, we were leaving out for Cancun on Tuesday. She had already paid for the trip. I was supposed to bring the spending money. So I may have had $300 to last almost a week in Cancun. It was all inclusive, so that was good. But when I tell you I dropped down and I said to myself, it was so traumatic to me because I would have been, because this is another thing with the juice, your 22 is not 2,000, it's 2,200. So 22 and 1,600, that's $3,800. And on top of that, my checks at the time were only about $1,500, $1,600 after taxes per week. Bi-weekly, I mean. So how long you think it would have taken me with my other expenses to pay that back? And I share that story to say that it broke me. Oh, I did Western Union, the guy who gave me the tip to take the over, because I had no idea what to do. So I did send him his $200 Western Union. My debt was clear, and I still won $200 to go to Cancun with. But everybody's not so lucky. A lot of people lose their homes. A lot of people lose just different things. And I'm telling you, sports betting to me, it really has changed the scope of people and their money, especially younger people. And even a lot of the younger black guys. Hey, what's up, G? I'm going to go put a ticket in, man. You want me to put a ticket in? For people who don't know, a ticket is, a parlay. Oh, yeah, I'm just going to put in a $20. And that's how it starts. It starts small. I'm going to put $10 on 10 teams. If I win, then I get $15,000. Something that's almost impossible. But because people want money so bad, because people want to be ahead or get ahead whatever kind of way so bad, they're willing to risk it. Then that $10 goes to $20. Then that $20 goes to $30. Then that $30 goes to $40 or $50 per day. And it's killing us. It's taking away a lot of money that can be going to do other things. Do I say people should stop betting? No, because it's fun. It is fun. But if you start looking up, and at the end of the week, because none of us like to tally anything up, right? But if you look up, and at the end of the week, we got 7 days in a week, especially with football season here and basketball season on our horizon. 30, 30, 30. Maybe one day when you get paid, you feel lucky, 50. So even if we just do the quick math, 7 days times $30 is $210 per week. And we know some of our brothers love smoking the ooh wee, you know what I mean? So, that's another 200 possibly a week. So I'm going to leave you with that. And I'm just going to ask you, do you think that sports betting is killing us? Do you think that sports betting is killing the community and, making people do more robberies and just different things like that to try to amass some money? But hey, that's just one guy's opinion. You know what I mean? I'm definitely going to bet on the Super Bowl. But hey, I'm older, I'm wiser, and I understand there's no get rich quick scheme. Not even when you're trying to place a bet. So think about that. If you know somebody out there that's going all that, don't tell them call 1-800-GAMBLER or whatever it is. Tell them, say, hey, look, give them the same breakdown. Look, little bro, you spending too much money on that. You're doing too much with that. And we're going to get into talking about my brethren and sister with the lottery and all those other kinds of different things also. But that sports betting is something else. And since it's right in the palm of our hands, it's doing a lot of damage. But hey, that's just one guy's opinion. So, if you get a chance, live life. Don't let life live you.